On Christmas Eve, she was broke, about to be evicted, and holding enough cash to save herself. But one choice would cost her everything. The man who'd been sitting in the booth was like a ghost. He came and went without a word, a permanent scowl carved on his face. He was older, wearing a suit that probably cost more than her car, and he'd treated her with a strange, cold indifference, like she was just part of the furniture. He ordered a black coffee, stared out at the first few snowflakes, and paid with a crisp $100 bill, telling her to keep the change without even making eye contact. It should have felt generous, but it just felt dismissive. Now, holding his wallet, her heart was pounding. Her fingers were trembling when she opened it. Inside, a driver's license showed the man's face. Arthur Sterling, looking just as cold and severe in the tiny photo. And right under it was a stack of $100 bills, a thick, impossible stack. She didn't bother counting it. She knew it was more money than she'd ever seen in one place. It was a lifeline. It was a way out. The only sounds in the diner were the hum of the old fridge and the wind picking up outside, whispering tempting thoughts in her ear. Her mind raced. She pictured her landlord's smug face if she could just slap a wad of cash into his hand. She imagined waking up in her own small apartment on Christmas morning, warm and safe, instead of shivering in a shelter. The money was right there. It was an honest mistake by some rich guy who probably wouldn't miss it for a day. And he'd been so cold, so dismissive. Did he really deserve to get it back? The thought was bitter, born from the desperation that had been shadowing her for months. Sarah clutched the wallet and walked back to the tiny staff room, her legs shaky. She pulled the eviction notice out of her pocket. Its cruel words stared back at her, a complete opposite of the small fortune she held in her other hand. One was the end of her world, the other was a miracle. The fight inside her head was a storm, just like the blizzard now raging outside. Keeping it felt like a betrayal of everything her grandma had taught her. But returning it? That felt like giving up her only chance to survive. She looked at the wallet again. She had to find a way to return it, even if it was just to quiet the screaming in her own head. She flipped past the cash and the shiny credit cards, searching for a business card or a phone number. And then she saw it. Tucked into a hidden, worn-out sleeve wasn't another card, but a small, faded photograph. It was old, the corners softened by time. It showed a little girl with bright eyes and a missing front tooth sitting on Mr. Sterling's lap. But this wasn't the same Mr. Sterling. He was younger, and he was smiling, a huge, genuine smile that actually reached his eyes and made him look happy. That photo, she realized, was the most valuable thing in the entire wallet. It was a treasure of memory, not money. Sarah knew that kind of value. She had a similar photo of herself with her grandmother, the only thing she had left of her. The money in the wallet could be replaced. A memory like that is priceless. Just like that, the conflict was over. The cash didn't seem so important anymore. She knew what she had to do. This wasn't about him anymore, or what he deserved. It was about the little girl in the picture, and the man who once knew how to smile. The address on Arthur Sterling's license was on the other side of town, in a neighborhood she'd only ever seen in magazines. The snow was coming down hard now, a thick white curtain that made it impossible to see. Her beat-up car barely started on a good day, let alone in a blizzard. The buses had stopped running hours ago. There was only one option left. She had to walk. She put on her thin coat, wrapped a ragged scarf around her face, and stepped out into the storm. The wind was a physical blow, stealing her breath and biting at her skin. Every single step was a battle against the growing snowdrifts and the howling wind. The city, usually alive and loud, was completely deserted. Twice she slipped and fell hard on the ice, her body aching from the cold. Her fingers and toes went numb, and for a second, she wondered if she was crazy. She could be warm right now. She could be figuring out how to pay her rent. Instead, here she was, fighting her way through a blizzard for a man who wouldn't know her from Adam, all for a principle that felt like the world had forgotten. But every time doubt crept in, she pictured the smiling girl in the photo, and it pushed her forward. She thought about the love captured in that one faded image, and knew she was doing the right thing. She wasn't just returning a wallet. She was returning a piece of someone's heart. After what felt like hours, she finally made it. It wasn't a house. It was a mansion, a stone fortress in the snowy darkness. The windows were all dark, staring back at her like empty eyes. The whole place looked as lonely and uninviting as the man himself. Shivering uncontrollably, she pressed the fancy doorbell. A moment later, the heavy door opened with a groan. Arthur Sterling stood there, his scowl even deeper than it was at the diner. "What do you want?" he snapped, his voice sharp with irritation. "Sir, Mr. Sterling," Sarah stammered, the words catching in her throat. She held out the wallet. You left this at the diner." He snatched it from her without a word of thanks. The first thing he did was flip it open and check the cash, his fingers flying as he counted it. Sarah's heart sank. Of course, that's all he cared about. She'd risked frostbite for a man who was just worried about his money. She turned to walk away, feeling a chill inside her that was colder than the storm. "Wait," he said. His voice had changed. It was quieter. She turned back. He wasn't looking at the money anymore. He was staring at the faded photograph, his thumb gently stroking the image of the little girl. A choked, broken sob escaped his throat, shattering his icy shell. Tears started rolling down his weathered cheeks. "This was my daughter," he whispered, his voice thick with an emotion she never thought he could possess. "She passed away years ago. This is the last picture I have of her smiling." He finally looked up at Sarah, and for the first time he really saw her. He saw her chapped lips, her red nose, her shivering body. He saw the goodness that had pushed her through a blizzard to return something she desperately needed. The money, I wouldn't have even noticed it was gone. But this, he clutched the photo. This is everything. Christmas morning came, and Sarah woke up on her friend's lumpy couch with the eviction notice hanging over her head. A sharp knock on the door made her jump. It was a woman in a business suit, holding a briefcase. She introduced herself as Mr. Sterling's attorney. Sarah's stomach dropped. She was sure she was in some kind of trouble, but the woman smiled. "Mr. Sterling was very moved by your honesty," she said. "He asked me to deliver your Christmas present." She opened the briefcase and handed Sarah a set of documents. It wasn't cash. It was the deed to her apartment building, her building. Mr. Sterling had bought the entire complex overnight. The document said that her apartment was now hers, rent-free for life. On top of that, the other units were going to be renovated and turned into safe, affordable housing for families in need, all managed by a new fund in his daughter's name. Sarah just stared at the papers, unable to make sense of the words. Her entire life had been changed, not by the money she could have taken, but by the integrity she chose to hold on to. It was a reward bigger than anything she could have imagined. It was proof that doing the right thing, especially when it's the hardest thing, can lead to blessings you never see coming. Her one small act of kindness didn't just save her from the cold. It gave her a home, a future, and a reason to believe in the quiet magic of a good heart. The story of Sarah and Mr. Sterling is a reminder that the real value of what we do isn't always about money. Honesty and kindness are priceless. So we have to ask, if you were in Sarah's shoes, facing that impossible choice, what would you have done? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if this story moved you, please consider subscribing for more just like it.